friends, welcome to episode 49 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Felicia and you can find me anywhere online as Adachi. I am coming to you today from inside my home in Central Florida. Today is Thursday, August 9th, and thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I'm filming inside because it's super muggy outside and I really wanted to wear this top. And there is absolutely no way that this would have gone well outside. None at all. Nope. So I have a pile of craftiness at my feet. I have my cup of refreshment, which today is good old water. And fun fact, my family is in Delaware. And in Delaware, this would be called wooter. It's such an interesting accent up there. And when you clean your hands, it's washing. So you wash, oh, I can't even do it. So you wash your hands in wooter. Delaware. Anywho, let's get to what we really want to talk about today, which is the craftiness. But first, 2 episodes ago, I did a drawing for the Key Largo Lace Wrap by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet, and the winner never got back to me. So I am going to redraw for that pattern giveaway. So I'm going to put the new winner's name right across the screen here. So if this is you, send me a message on Ravelry, let me know that you've seen this, and then I will send your information over to Hannah so that she can send you a copy of that awesome pattern. It's a super simple pattern, like the stitch pattern is beautiful. Hannah is an excellent pattern writer and her designs are so beautiful. So thank you so much, Hannah, for giving us a copy of that pattern to give away. So again, if this is you, send me a message, let me know that you've seen this. Congratulations on winning a copy of Hannah's pattern, and we are off to the races with the crafting. So this week I have 0 finished objects, but I do have this, which is an older finished object. It's probably maybe a year. Is this crochet? Yeah, so this is probably like 1 to 2 years old at this point. I call it my Franken Shirt. I'm gonna put the name of the pattern and the designer at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember right now. But I'll stand up so that you can see it. Okay, so this is the front. And then I did like a lower or a longer back just because, you know, cover the tush. Oh, and then this is the back. It has a lower scoop in the back, which I think is really cute. I call this my Franken Shirt because it is, as you saw on the back, there's 3 different colors on there. It was a stash busting project. I had this yarn, like this yarn here in the front is one of those, I think it was called like Red Heart Boutique or something like that, where the ball of yarn was just like a bunch of different textures and colors and stuff like that. And I bought it because it was on clearance. It was probably on clearance for like $2. And I was like, ooh, that's a sale. So I bought it. So it sat in my stash for a good minute before I just said to myself, okay, you have to put this in something, so let's just do a thing. So I made this for my 30 before 30, which I didn't finish. Yeah, so that makes this just under 2 years old, but you can see, I'm gonna kneel down. This part of the yarn is super like nubbly. It's gone through the wash, so I think this might have had some wool content in it because it started to felt a little bit. Then it went to just like this kind of like a regular acrylic black. There's some, this texture here, you can't tell. That texture is different. It had like glittery bits. There's just a whole lot going on. A whole lot. But yeah, like this is a glittery bit right here. You can see it sparkle just a smidge. But that is my Franken Shirt. It's really comfy. It does keep sliding off my shoulders though. But I like the length of the sleeves. I like how it fits in the body. And I do think that I would make this again, like in a sensible yarn. So I might do that. I might have to like make another Franken Shirt, but just leave out the Franken part. Was there anything else I wanted to say about this? No. Super, super easy pattern. Yeah. Really nice fit. Really like it. Thumbs up. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Also, this has nothing to do with anything handmade, but these jeans that I'm wearing are high waist, and oh my gosh, I've never like, what was I doing before high waist pants? Like, oh, I feel so secure. Like, all of the pants that I've had, like all the jeans and stuff that I wear, you know, were like the low waist ones because that's pretty much what was sold everywhere. And recently I was in Walmart and I saw these, and like in Walmart they have jeans for like $7.70 something. And I always buy those black ones for work. And so I was gonna pick up another pair, and then I saw that they had high waist ones. And one of the things that really irritates me in the studio is, because I have to do so much bending down, crawling around on the floor and all this other stuff, I'm always nervous that my back is gonna like show and be out. So I always put on like a belt, and I put it like super tight so that, you know, my undershirt doesn't slip out of my pants, all that stuff. But I saw the high waist ones. I was like, okay, let me try that. So I got a black pair and I got this blue pair, and they are so comfortable. I may never go back to my other pants, y'all. I may have to buy all new pants, all high waist, because my back feels so enclosed right now, and it's making me so happy on the inside. That was just a brief venture into Felicia's mind and things that are making me ridiculously happy right now. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. I do have a half-finished object, which I will show you now. And it is in my quilted project bag that I got in a swap a couple years ago. This bag is so nice. Every time I use it, I'm just like, somebody made this for me. But my half object is my folded cuff socks. And I didn't bring a sock blocker. Yep, they need a sock blocker. Be right back. Okay, this is my finished folded cuff sock. This yarn up here is Red Heart, Heart and Soul in the Sorbetto colorway. This is Lion Brand Wool, is it Woolies? Sockies. Sockies in the Grape Soda colorway. And yeah, so I did the leg and then, you know, switch colors for the foot because I made a poor choice with the yarn management. So by doing the end or doing the toe in this color, I think it makes them look kind of fun and quirky, which is right up my alley. I am now working on the second one, and this used just under 25 grams. So, well, not just under, it was a couple grams under, so I have a little bit of wiggle room with the remaining yarn to make the second sock. And this is as far as I've gotten on the second sock. Okay. And this marker here, my little penguin who wants to be backwards, This marker here is marking 20 rows that I've done so far on the leg. And I think this leg is 50 rows, 50 or 60 rows, not sure. But what I did for the brim, for those of you who may not know, for the brim, it's not a brim, it's a cuff. What I did for the cuff is I cast on 64 stitches, I knit 15 rows of plain stockinette, then I knit one row of purl stitches, and then I knit 16 rows of plain stockinette, folded them in on themselves like this, and then basically knit knit stitches together. So I would do one stitch that was on the needle knit together with one stitch from the cast on edge. And I did that all the way around and then continued on. I don't think there's anything else really to say about these. One thing that you can definitely see is how this one isn't really pooling because of my gauge, but in this one you see that pooling there, and then, well, the big difference between here and here. That has a lot to do with the fact that I went through so many different knitting styles here, and you can even see how baggy this bit is on the blocker. Can you see that? Yep. So this part fits the blocker a lot better than this wonky foolishness up here. And this is the Felicia is trying her best to do 9-inch circulars area. Didn't go well, but I'm glad to have this halfway done. I really need to get these off of my needles because I am itching to do something new, because these have been in the works for a while. All right, I don't think there's anything else that I want to tell you guys about this. Yeah, this has been like my work knitting, so whenever I'm on at the studio, I take this with me. I work on it on my lunch breaks, and yeah. The next work in progress I have is my Zenovia blanket, and I have been making so much progress on this. The rows, y'all, I know I said last time, but they are intense. They have been intense, and they continue to be intense. They are so long, y'all. But like this blanket is so pretty. It's totally worth it. So I finally got into the pink. Let me hold it so you can see the pink. And am I on a black row? No, I'm at the beginning of a pink row. So look at that. Oh wait, if I hold it here, you can see the colors better instead of seeing through to the wall. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, and it starts in a green and then goes through blue, little bit of green. Well, there's more green on this side, and then yellow, orange, and pink. I did have to buy another ball of the Caron Simply Soft, which is the black yarn that I'm using, but I mean, it is what it is. And I think I'm gonna use like a good amount of it. I don't know, I'm just all tangled up. There's no way that I'm going to use like more than half of this ball. Absolutely no way, especially since I'm not using all of this. But yeah, I have the pink left, and then probably like half of the purple, because I want to stop before it starts changing into that green. So the pink, the like pinkish purple that's in between them, and then the purple, and then this will be done. It's just so satisfying to look at. Like, I might have to go hunting for another ball of this. This is Lion Bram Mandala in the gnome colorway, I believe. Yeah, I think it's gnome. But yeah, I might have to go find another ball of this because I think I need something like this as well. What else can I say about this blanket? It is getting almost too big for its bag. It's living in one of my Quirky Monday Crafts project bags. This is my large size. Sidebar, currently there isn't anything live in the shop because I am doing kind of like a remodel of my sizes and everything like that. So what I'm thinking is coming up with a bigger size than this. As of right now, this was large, but I can't even zip it up with this small blanket project in it. So I do want to have a bigger bag than this. So this very well might drop down to a medium size. That's it for that. So this is the Zenovia blanket. This is as far as I have gotten. I am loving it. It's great. And there isn't anything else I really want to talk about with this. I have been trying to figure out like what I want to do like to end it, like when it's all ready to be finished. And I think what I'm gonna do is, because I've been alternating the colors and the black, I think the last row after I finish all the purple, I'm gonna do maybe 2 or 3 rounds of just plain black, and then I think I'm going to put tassels on it. And like you can see my increases because I stacked them. So there's basically like points to where each row of increase goes, or each column of increases. And I think I'm gonna put a little tassel at the bottom of that. So it'll have like 12 little tassels around it, and that thick black border. And the tassels would be black. I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. Is that a good idea? Do we like this idea? I'm gonna do it anyway, but that's how I think it's going to be finished. So this hopefully will be done within the next week or so. And see, it doesn't even want to fit. And I guess it would be helpful if I didn't have this yarn on this like wind your own center pull ball thing. What's this called? Nostipin? I don't know if I said that right. But I put it on here so that like I could easily pull from it, and it wasn't like getting caught on whatever. Not gonna close it. Zenovia blanket. Almost done. Super excited about it. Thumbs up for this. The last work in progress that I have is my Gemini Shawl design. I was kind of thinking back and forth on whether I was going to share the design as I was like creating it. But I mean, I've shown the sketch to you guys. I showed the yarn choices and like the different stitches that I was playing with and everything like that. So I feel like you guys have gone along this trip with me. So this is another one of my Quirky Monday bags. This was like a prototype. I was trying to see if I wanted to do like the pleather bottoms with the fabric. I think I might. Who knows? Anywho, I have my design living in here. I was spending a whole lot of time like swatching for it and like crocheting up like prototypes, trying to make sure that I had all the numbers right before I started crocheting with my actual yarn. And I just felt like it was creating some sort of creative block in my head. And then like when I was working, if I liked something in like the like stash yarn that I was using, I felt like I couldn't accept that as this is how it would work in the finished project, because it was a different weight of yarn, it was different content and everything like that. And I wouldn't have like measurements to go on. So everything that I was creating was kind of just like unnecessary doodling. So what I decided to do was just stop swatching, just jump in the deep end with both of my feet and just start working with the actual yarn. So this is one of the yarns I've showed you guys before. This is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Crumble colorway. And my next is, what is this? Malabrigo Machita in Frank Ochre. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And the last is Birch Hollow Fiber in corn silk. And this is really blowing out in the camera. It looks like it's just natural, like in the screen, but it's a very, very pale yellow. So these are the colors together. And the idea for the colors in the Gemini Shawl is you have two colors that go together. They can either be like colors, different shades in the same family, or different tints in the same family, or just two colors that go nicely together. And then you have one that is a departure from those two, so a distinctly different color. These two represent the twins, Castor and Pollux. This one represents the separation of death. That sounds so morbid when I say it like that, but I mean, that's what happened in their story. So this is what I have so far. And I'm really liking, which way is this? Ooh, there's strings everywhere. Strands everywhere. Here we go. This is what I have so far. And I'm liking how it's working up. But as I am a night owl, pretty much all of this like striping here was done late at night. And when I picked it up last night to work on it, I got to like the corner part and I was like, what in the actual heck was I doing? And I went back and I'm looking at the different rows and I couldn't really figure it out. Like, it works, you know, but I'm essentially making up every row, and I don't want each row to be different, because that makes absolutely no sense. I want to make this as simple as possible for other people to create, which is the point of a pattern. So I think I'm gonna have to rip out all of this striping and start over again. I am super proud of the center motif here because it took me a long time to get the shaping of this square the way I wanted it to be. And with the changing colors, like I was finding a lot of patterns for a like 2-color granny square or 2-color solid square, but a lot of them had you carrying like contrast color 1 underneath color 2. So you could see like bits of it popping through, and I didn't want that. So the way that I have constructed this square, all of color 1 is on this side and all of color 2 is on this side. There's no like carrying the yarn or anything like that. And I really like how the rows are looking. But I am low-key a little bit bummed that I'm probably gonna have to rip out all of this work, but at least I know I like what it looks like. So this is the beginning of Gemini. I'm so excited. So one thing that's been giving me like a lot of stress with this pattern is like making sure that I don't do too much on this side, because the way that I want it constructed is in halves. So I don't want to go over half of my yarn on this side and then not have enough for the second side, because that would be so irritating. Also, I am super nervous to cut my threads or cut my yarns. So this isn't even like, I'm not gonna be using this color in like maybe like this much more of this shawl, but I haven't cut it off because I'm like, what if I need to frog back down to 0? Then I don't want to have to tie knots. So I've just been walking with like all these strands just everywhere. Like whenever I take it out to work on it, there's strands everywhere. So yeah, that's Gemini. It's making me very happy. I can't wait to see the whole thing finished. This is gonna be great. Yeah, so what do you think? Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I'm working with a teeny tiny crochet hook, as you would, because this is fingering weight yarn. And that is everything for works in progress, right? Check the notes. Yes. So next up we have maker plans. And both of my maker plans are recent, like within the last day or so I decided to do them. The first maker plan that I have is a test knit. I am going to be test knitting the Footbridge beanie by Laurell of the Dabbling hook. And it's a, I think it's basket weave textured beanie. And I'm going to be making it out of this yarn. This is Lion Brand Hometown USA in the Dallas Gray colorway. And I actually had to pick this up today because I don't have any super bulky yarn in my stash. I thought I did, and I did up until last week when I gave it away. So when I realized that the exact yarn that I gave away was the yarn that I needed for this pattern, I was just like, so, but it's cool. I really like this gray. Like, I like this shade of gray, this like neutral gray. And you will see in just a moment how much I like this gray because it comes up again. But this pattern, I've read through the pattern and I'm ready to get started. I think I'm going to do, I think maybe the medium size. And if I have enough yarn left over, I'm going to test the small as well, just to, you know, make sure that everything works out for her. She also has a podcast, if you don't know, and you should totally go check her out. I will link her down below. Hey girl. So this is gonna go back down here. And my second maker plan I also purchased today. I went to Joann's only for this, and I came out with like a bunch of other stuff. Like, I need a chaperone when I go into the craft store. Oh well. I got this. I got this because it seemed interesting. It's called the Dress Express Pre-Cut Dress Kit. It's a knit, like a knit fabric dress. It looks like this. And it includes one pre-cut front panel, one pre-cut back panel, binding, and instructions. And the instructions are printed on the inside of the band. I only picked this up, like I'd seen this before in Joann's, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. It says the skill level is intermediate, and the approximate crafting time is 1 to 2 hours. So I'd seen these before in Joann's, and I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't know if I'd really try it. I don't really need you to like pre-cut my fabric for me. But they were 70% off, so I was like, I'll try it for a discount. Okay. And I really want to make a knit dress, like a knit fabric dress. And I am like low-key scared to like cut the knit fabric that I have in my stash. So this made sense today. So yeah, again, that's the back. So that's what the dress looks like. And I'm hoping that it will look nice on me. If it's super comfy, I think what I'm gonna do is lay out the fabric on a piece of paper, trace the pre-cuts to keep like the pattern, and then sew this together, see how I like it. And if I like it, then I can use that, like the tracings, as a pattern. Yeah? Yeah? So well, it says 1 to 2, like because it says 1 to 2 hours for the approximate crafting time, I kind of want to try this today. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll wear this on next episode. But that's everything that I have for maker plans and stash positions, right? Yes, that's everything that I bought. I do have a will need to be stash position soon. Guys, I have sad news. Dun, 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 dun. I managed to dash 2 pieces my ball winder. It's a sad day in Felicia land. I was looking for something yesterday and kicked it, and it just snapped off. This is also why you should not keep your tools next to your bed on the floor. If it was where it was supposed to be, it would still be in one piece. Learn from my mistakes, people. Put things back where they go. So yeah, I need to buy a new ball winder. And I thought about getting the one that's at Michael's, but that ball winder, like this, y'all know how this one works, right? The one at Michael's is horizontal like this, and instead of this part like moving to create the ball, the little yarn guide goes back and forth like this, and I don't really like that. So I think I'm just going to end up buying a new one from Knit Picks, because I don't wind yarn enough to justify spending a lot of money for a ball winder. So yeah, you were with me for a long time. I bought this when I lived in Huntsville, Alabama, y'all. I've had this ball winder for maybe like 6 or 7 years. I think that's a good run for a plastic ball winder, right? So I shouldn't feel too bad, right? I feel bad. You look so sad in pieces on the floor. Okay. What's next? Oh, excuse me. Oh, I did have one more stash position that I want to tell you guys about. It's not something that I got, but it was a gift that was sent to me. One of my lovely internet friends, who was actually one of my test knitters for the Puppy Love Shawl, which, side note, pattern is coming. Anyway, so my lovely friend Penny sent me a pattern on Ravelry, and she sent me the Phyllis Areum pattern. Now, I have had this pattern in my like wish list favorites for like a couple years now. The first time I saw it was on the Essence of Me channel. No, Freedom Please is the channel. Essence of Me is like the video name. But anyway, the maker's name is Dana, and she does, like, I think that she was the first person that I saw ever do like a sit down, like crafty kind of podcast thing. She wasn't calling it a podcast. She would just get on and talk about what she's been making and stuff like that, and I loved it. She did like crochet. I think she did, yeah, crochet, knitting. She got heavily into quilting. What else? She's a writer. She runs marathons. Like, this girl does like everything. So I will also link her channel down below. But she was the first person that I saw make this shawl, and it is a pie shawl, which scares me because those are a lot of stitches, and it's knitted. So I'm pretty sure it probably gets up to the 1,000. But she was the first person that I saw make this shawl, and it is essentially a map of the northern night sky, like the northern hemisphere, the night sky, and all the constellations are on there, and they are marked with beads, and oh my gosh. Like, I showed it to my husband, and he was like, wow, that's really cool. So when I got the email, because I was like randomly scrolling through my email and I saw it, and it just made me so happy. So I don't know when I'm going to start it. I've never knit anything with beads before, so I have to figure out how to do that. And just, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much, Penny. Like, that was awesome. And in her email, she said, happy birthday, whenever it is. So thank you so much for my birthday gift. I will cherish it. And that just because I know how long it took Dana to do hers, I'm like purposing in my mind that that is going to be like a long-term whip. Whenever I do start it, it's going to be on the needles for a month of Sundays. But I'm going to be happy about it the whole time, because then I can wear the constellations around my shoulders. Like, and I think all of my favorite constellations are fully visible in that shawl, except for maybe Orion, because depending on what time of, this is about to get real nerdy. Depending on what time of the year it was when this designer decided to make this shawl, Orion may be fully in the northern hemisphere, but it could also be like riding the edge. Either way, I'm super crunk about it, and thank you, love. That is everything from my stash acquisitions and my maker plans. And we can jump right into Black Fibers, Black Threads. So if you watched last week's episode, I talked about the diversity hashtag. I also said that I was going to put up my post. I haven't yet because I'm chicken. I'm going to do it. Anyway, one of the things that I had seen coming up a lot in that hashtag was the need for, or the call for, indie dyers and designers and makers of color and of diverse backgrounds to like make themselves known, so that you could be like, okay, here they are, you know? So what I want to do with Black Fibers, Black Threads is use it as a like soapbox to tell you guys about makers and designers and dyers that I have used their products, heard of, looked at their work online, purchased things from, etc. Like I wanna like signal boost them. Not that like my signal is real big or anything, but hey, one more person talking about you is awesome. So I figured I would start in a place that was the easiest for me to do, and that is with dyers. I've already mentioned one of my favorite indie dyers, who is Robin of Birch Hollow Fibers. And I feel like I have been talking about her a whole lot recently, and I think that's because, one, she's awesome and I love her color sense, but two, she's the dyer that did the corn silk color for my Gemini Shawl. I have another one of her yarns here, and this is Pot of Gold, and it's just speckly, tonally goodness, and that's her card. Boop. And see, this orangey gold is just like right up my alley. I love warm colors like this, and then like peppering in like the cool greens and blues sometimes, but I love the way that she blends colors together. Like me, whenever I dye anything, I feel like I'm so like nervous about how the colors are going to react with each other that I tend to stay in a safe zone of like tonals and colors like that. I don't do anything wild or crazy. But the way that she mixes the colors, like it feels kind of peaceful to me. I don't know if that even makes any sense, but I love the way that she mixes colors. I love the way that she chooses the colors that go together. And if you follow her Instagram, she's always sharing pictures of her colorways and inspirations and everything like that. And it's like awesome color therapy for me. But all of the dyers that I speak about, of course, are going to be linked below. So I definitely encourage you to go check them out, go look at their work. Yes. This is her sock blend. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, 100 grams, 463 yards. And I bought this yarn and I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to put this with the other skein of yarn that I have from her. I have another skein called Oceana, which is gorgeous. And I think what I was really doing was just like lying to myself to like justify purchasing more yarn that I didn't have a plan for, but don't tell Felicia. Yes. So check out Robin, check out her shop, Birch Hollow Fibers. You won't be disappointed. So that's that. And look at those speckles. So cute. Okay. The next indie dyer that I want to mention is another one that I have recently mentioned because I just bought yarn from her like 3 weeks ago. And that is Roshelle of Queen's Yarn Boutique. This is her Firestarter colorway. It's also a 75-25 superwash merino wool, or superwash merino wool nylon mix. And so the same things with like the amount of yarn and everything like that. But one thing that I think is super fun about her shop is that all of her bases are named after, I think it's Prince songs. And she's like really into Prince. So I love when there's a theme. And this yarn, like I said, is called Firestarter. And I'm imagining, like looking at the way that it's dyed, that if I knit a sock with this, I might get some micro striping. So it's really cool. I love the bright colors that she has. In her shop, she does do a lot of bright colors. The other colorway that I purchased from her, if you haven't watched the last couple of episodes, is a deep green tonally color, and it's called Hela of Asgard. And I really love that color. It was super, super cool to see in real life. So she's also, like I said, another one who I enjoy the way that she approaches color. Her colorways, they feel like they're more like energetic, if that makes any sense. Like Robin's colors seem more like relaxed to me. These colors are more like in your face and like ka-cha. So I really like that. She was having a 50% off getting ready for fall sale in her shop. If it's still going, I will put it on the screen so that you can also go check out her work. Yeah. And these, I couldn't pass up these super bright colors. Love it, love it. The last dyer that I want to talk about is Felicia of DJFleesh. That is so hard for me to say. DJFleesh yarns. And for hers, I have my finished sock because I use the yarn. But this is her yarn. The green is Knit Picks. But this is her yarn. It's called Summer Squash. It was also a 75-25 sock yarn blend. And it is super soft. Like I don't know what makes one superwash merino softer than the next, but this one is definitely a lot softer than the like other superwash merinos that I've used. I haven't yet knit socks out of the Birch Hollow Fibers or Queen's yarn yet, so I can't like tell you how soft those are compared to this one, but I have knit with this, obviously. I have worn these, washed these. These even accidentally went through the dryer, and they are still here to tell the tales. So DJFleesh has quite a few like variegated colorways in her shop. She does a lot of like moodier colors, and every once in a while there'll be like a shock of pink somewhere, which is really cool. She also did a colorway for the total eclipse that happened last year, and I am still kicking myself for not purchasing it. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh man, I should do that, I should get it, but I didn't pull the trigger, and then they all sold out. So that made me sad on the inside, but I will always have the memories. But yes, I really enjoyed working with this, and this particular sock yarn, it was a sock set where she had a mini that was like a yellow, so the same yellow that's in this main yarn, she had a yellow mini that went with it. I decided to swap that out for this green because these are all my favorite colors. So these are my favorite color socks, and they're super comfy. I love wearing them. What else can be said about this yarn? But like I said, this was a sock set, so it had a 20 gram mini, and then the main yarn was 50 grams. And I know last week I was talking about wanting to be able to purchase more like 50 gram skeins instead of like the 100 gram skeins. And I did get a whole lot of recommendations for people who do that. So thank you so much if you left any recommendations. I am definitely keeping my eye on her shop to see if she brings back those half skeins, which would be awesome. But yeah, I can't remember what this looked like in the skein, but this was early like in my sock knitting career, and it was like I wasn't able to like look at a skein of yarn and know if it was gonna micro stripe or anything like that, or if it was just gonna be like complete variegation. So I was pleasantly surprised when I got like this micro stripey kind of fun thing happening, which I love it. There are two socks. There you go. I'm not going to show you the bottoms of them because they're a little grubby, but I love these socks. They are wearing wonderfully, and like I said, I have been wearing these. Like, I finished these last year. I have been wearing them, washing them, as I try to remember not to like to save them from the washer before they hit the dryer, but you know, sometimes I'm not successful, and even so they are still looking excellent. So yeah, that is pretty awesome. That concludes all of the dyers that I wanted to talk about in today's Black Fibers, Black Threads. Well, that's all of the dyers that I have purchased yarn from, so I can talk about them with experience. There is one other dyer that I wanted to mention who I haven't purchased yarn from yet, but they are definitely on my list to purchase from, and that's Dyenamixx yarns. And you may be familiar with the dyers behind Dyenamixx yarn because it's run by Marce and Adachi. They're a mother-daughter team, and Marce has the Hey Brownberry podcast. She's also a Florida girl, so hey. And they have this really interesting way of approaching yarn dyeing. Like, they do a lot of natural dyeing as well as sustainable dyeing. I follow their dye company Instagram, and one of the things that I found was really, really cool that they have done is, you know, in Florida we get like this season that is kind of like a rainy season, and in order to conserve water, what they did was they took their dye pots and they put them out when it was raining, and they collected all that water, and that was the water that they used to dye their yarn, which I thought was amazing and really thoughtful, you know, for the environment. They also do a lot of eco dyeing, like the pomegranate dyeing, avocado dyeing. In one of the posts, Marce had gone and harvested or like foraged ferns like from their backyard and dyed with those. And it was just like really eye-opening to me to see just how many regular things that you consume in your regular life or that you pass by when you're outside that can be used for dye stocks, which was a really cool thing to see done. So I definitely have them on my list of makers to purchase from. I also think that it's wonderful that it's a mother and daughter business. I love seeing the relationship between Marce and her daughters whenever she has them on her podcast or whenever she has them on vlogs or anything like that. You could just really see the closeness that they have as a family, and that's a really beautiful thing. So yes, this is kind of the direction that I want to take Black Fibers, Black Threads. I want to use it, like I said, as a place to share these different makers that I am hearing about and seeing online and getting to experience. So of course, if there are any other like makers of color, and they don't have to just be black, if there's ones that you want to share with me, leave them in the comments so that we can all like broaden our view of the fiber world. And of course that includes like dyers, designers, especially designers. One of the things that people were mentioning in the Diversity hashtag was that they see a lot of like models of color, but not many designers of color. So if you are a knitwear or crochet wear designer and you want to just like shamelessly plug your work, go ahead and leave your information in the comments so that, we can check each other out. So there you go. And that is everything for today's Black Fibers, Black Threads. And you stink, little one. You a stinky girl. Let me tell you why this dog is a stinky girl. Today's quote, or today's little board message is brought to you by this dog. When I got home from running errands today, I let them outside, and we have a hill in our backyard, and she ran up the hill, rolled over on her back, and just wiggled her way all the way down the hill, like all the way down the hill. It was so cute, but at the same time, I was like, you are so filthy now. But you like being dirty, don't you? You little ragamuffin. You're not sorry. Not at all. Nope. You smell like a trash can, but I still love you. So that finishes up everything fiber and crafty related. I did want to talk a little bit about some life and whatnot. As it is the end of the summer, Lamar, my husband, he's a math teacher. He has gone back to work, and he's like, oh, my summer break is over. So actually a lot of my friends are teachers. So they're going back to work now. So we decided a couple weeks ago to have like a weekend beach trip. And so after church on Sabbath, we all like packed up and went to the beach. And it's been so long since I have like been properly to the beach. And it was really nice when we finally got there, because let me tell you, stress and anxiety was like up there. Like to the point when we finally got there and I went and I was standing like, bye. And I was standing like at the edge of the water in the waves, like I just started crying because I was just so overwhelmed with like organizing people. But the next time we take a beach trip, I'm not organizing nothing. I'm gonna just get in the car and then get out the car at the beach. But that trip was really nice. It also reminded me that I live quite close to the beach, and close being like an hour and a half, drive, which is really nothing. So there's that. And last week, I think it was, Lamar and I went to a Cirque du Soleil show. And I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before, I probably have, but Cirque du Soleil is like one of my favorite things, like hands down, one of my favorite things. And we went to the show Crystal, which is basically Cirque du Soleil on ice. And when I was thinking about that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so stressful, like acrobatics and ice. But it was amazing. Like the story of this show follows Crystal, who seems like she's like a very like daydreamy, artsy kind of girl. And of course, you know, like at the very beginning when they like show you like this is her character, I was like, well, hello me. So it follows her through basically like almost discovering who she wants to be. Where at the beginning you're seeing like everybody is basically complaining about her being so like daydreamy, or she's always off in her own world, or her teacher asks her, did you do the homework? And she said, well, I was writing a song about a supernova. And I'm like, sometimes like a creative mind is like that, you know, it's just crazy cacophony of everything. So you see this character trying to like fit in to a more like structured world, and it goes as far as to showing her going from like a super creative child to when she's older she starts writing, and she's like, I can write my whole universe. And so she becomes like almost a writer or an artist in that way. And then it shows as she's going into like a corporate environment where like everybody is in their cubicles and everyone's typing and doing the same thing, and how she just stands out from everything, like where she's trying to be that person, but also at the same time there's this other version of her that's trying to break away from that. And just watching the whole like progression to where she kind of comes back to herself, it was just so awesome. And I took some pictures. They're really bad pictures because I was watching the show. But I will insert them here for your viewing pleasure. I wore my mini sweatshirt that I showed you guys last week, which I am going to be doing the red polka dots to lengthen the arms because that's what you guys wanted. And I wore that to the arena, and I'm so glad I did because it was cold in there, and I'm always cold, so having all of that ice in there really like would have had me in just the wrong headspace to enjoy the show. I also took my Feel Better or my Just Feel Better shawl, so I was cozy and just loved the whole experience. One of the things that was different, for me at least, in this Cirque du Soleil show, was that they used some popular music in English, which is completely like different than any of the other shows that I've gone to. Typically with Cirque du Soleil shows, you'll have a lot of really moving music in another language. So it'll either be like French or Italian. I think there was some Spanish in Alegria, but it was really weird to be sitting there, and at one point Chandelier by Sia starts playing, and I'm like, that's a regular song, I can sing along with this. So that was just kind of like a different Cirque du Soleil experience for me. Like, I'm used to not being able to sing along with the music at all. But I'm so glad that we got to go. It was such a great experience. But because it was on ice, this was the first time that I did not wonder if I should just go ahead and stow away in their trucks and run away with the circus. So, I mean, I can't ice skate. I got a bum knee. I mean, I could be the water girl. But, yes, that is everything that I had to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Leave a comment down below of something positive that happened to you guys this week, so that we can all share in with that positivity. I do love reading your positive things. It's really fun. And until next time, thanks for being part of my universe. Bye.